We're streaming.
Right. So I can confirm we are streaming this meeting live to the public via YouTube. I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is conducted in accordance with our standing orders. We don't have anyone from the public, I believe, speaking this evening. Again, we're not expecting any fire drills, but if we do hear the alarm, then obviously the meeting point is outside the Chinese takeaway, so you just exit through the doors to there. Can I just ask all councillors if they've received all the documentation and paperwork ahead of the meeting?
Yep.
Thank you. Again, just to remind everybody that the correct etiquette is to raise and count of hands for voting. And I'm going to lead on to the agenda now. So the first item on our agenda is the declaration of acceptance of office. So I'd like to call up our new councillor, Councillor Woodrow, to come and sign his paperwork, please. And we'd like to welcome you to the council.
Put your name here, full name here, sign here, today's date, and then I'll sign that. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And on behalf of all the councillors here, I'd like to welcome you aboard. We don't have any members of the public speaking this evening, do we, Justin?
No.
No, okay. So going on to item 19, apologies of absence.
Apologies received from Councillors Moore, Stannard, Cole, and also District Councillor Jeffrey.
Okay. Item 20, does anybody have any declarations of interest to declare at this moment in time based on the agenda items? No? Right, thank you. Item 21, Chairman's report. I don't have anything to report. So item 22, I'll hand to you, Justin, for your report.
So firstly, just wanted to remind councillors that our Assistant Executive Officer has circulated an email in relation to data protection training. There are 3 dates in that email: 23rd of March, 28th of April, 19th of May, and some sessions 6 to 8 p.m, some 6:30 to 8:30. Please book onto one of these 3 dates, but if anyone can't make it for any reason, we can arrange other alternative training. It's very important that councillors attend data protection training if they've not been on any in the last year. And then following on from the updates announced at the last council meeting, and as per the website post published in relation to Easters Barn and the contractual purchase option within the lease, I can confirm the council has received notification that the tenant Little Barn Owls has served official notice to action the option. The council solicitor has confirmed they've received the £60,000 deposit. Further updates will be provided as and when I receive them, and I will provide an update at the next council meeting, but also by email to councillors. Note that the valuation in commercial terms are still treated as commercially sensitive and cannot be released. In our blog post that was published on the website, it does state that I would ask our solicitor to speak to Little Barn Owls. Our solicitor has advised the buyers confirm this must not be disclosed until after completion, following my request. So, and if anyone wants more information, please revisit the post we published on the 7th of January, which explains and clarifies most subject matter regarding Easters Barn. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any correspondence?
Correspondence was circulated ahead of this meeting from the monitoring officer in relation to the pre-election period. This relates to the district and county council elections and runs from 30th of March to, I think, 7th of May. For more information, just see the email, but it's predominantly related to the county and district council elections. So if anyone is running for them, please read that guidance note.
Okay, so now on to item 24, which is to receive and approve the meeting minutes from the full council held on the 21st of January 2026. So could I have a proposer for those minutes? Councillor Watkins, and a seconder, Councillor French. And those in favour?
Who were present at the meeting?
Oh, who were present at the meeting, sorry. Any abstentions or anyone against? No, carried. Do we have any matters arising from those minutes that anybody wants to discuss? No? Sorry.
So I just had one about the legal advice. I know we had an email exchange. I suppose we can simplify it, has legal advice been sought and a reply received? Not about the content, but just...
So council will be updated as and when it's relevant and required.
Okay, thank you. Right, so I would like to invite Councillor Jupp to come up and give his report.
Good evening, Chairman, Deputy Chairman, Vice Chairman, whatever it is, and councillors, good to see you. I'm overheard that you have a long agenda today, so I won't hopefully take up too much of your time. I've got 6 points that I wanted to speak to you about tonight, and of course I'd be very happy to answer any questions that you may have on them, those points, or any other matter that of concern to you. First off, since we last met, West Sussex County Council held their budget meeting at the end of February and agreed a budget for 27-28. As you may know, you probably, like me, got your council tax demands recently in the post, and you would have seen that West Sussex contribution to those costs is going to rise by 5% for the next year. Now that comprises two parts. One is the 3% for what I would call general inflation, which is just below the inflation rate, I think, that has recently been reported, and then 2%, which the government allows authorities such as West Sussex County Council to increase the council tax as a result of the increased pressures and demand for social services, and in particular adult services. So the increase will be 5% or 4.99%, which is within the maximum allowed within the government's guidelines. If I could just explain, 70% of the budget is taken up with adult services and children's services. Now, those are two major pieces of work that the County Council is involved with. Principally, they are below the radar, unless you have a member of your family or close neighbours or colleagues who are in need of those services. You probably don't know what on earth is involved there, other than it costs a huge amount of money, which it does. We have something like in the order of sort of £400 million that is spent on those services. Just for instance, if I could just explain to you, and people find it difficult to understand, but some of the youngsters, some of the children that we have responsibility for looking after through a variety of reasons, whether by they have learning difficulties, quite severe disablements, some of our children, a small number of them, cost this council over £10,000 a week to look after. And there is one child that costs considerably in excess of that. So you can imagine that the sums of money that have to be expended are quite huge. One of the things, just before we had the budget meeting, the government gave us notice that they will be able to increase their grants to West Sussex County Council. And of that, there was £2.4 million, which was agreed by the Cabinet Member for Finance and the Deputy Leader and subsequently confirmed. That £2.5 million is going to be added, ring-fenced, to the 26-27 budget for maintenance in the roads. Now, as you know, the condition of the roads is always a major topic of any social media exercise, and I know from travelling only yesterday up to the Midlands that this county is not alone in having difficulties with the maintenance of the roads due to the heavy waterfalls or rainfalls that we've had over the past few months. Anyway, on that particular score, I can if you follow these things, and we have scrutiny meetings which are published and broadcast, you'll see that actually West Sussex, the latest figures show that 99% of all road repairs were completed within the allocated 28 days. And it just so happens that there are a great deal more road repairs needed during the course of the last 3 months, so that's probably what you've seen. If I could take you on to another matter, and I think one of your new councillors will be aware, last month we passed, or County Council, Planning and Rights of Way Committee, in which I sit, we passed or agreed a new public right-of-way footpath leading in a circular manner, but ending up between, I'd say, between the Worthing Road, 2 Mile Ash Road, and also going to quite close to the Backs Castle for those interested in those sort of matters. Anyway, and I think the new councillor was one of the promoters, and I know that Julia, you were listening in on that particular debate. This time of year, and you'll know from previous years, the 1st of March, or close to the 1st of March, is the day that West Sussex County Council announced the secondary school allocations for those children moving from primary to secondary education in September this year. I'm pleased to say that all of South Water's youngsters transitioning to secondary school were all found either a school in Horsham, secondary school in Horsham, or one of their 3 choices if they weren't one of those schools in the Horsham area. It's interesting to note that Millay, which has caused quite a few problems in terms of allocating children, yet again will not be able to fulfill its allocation of 300 children. In September, there will be about 170 children, so there'll be about 130 children light. And of those, and it's going to have about 170 children, 50, just over 50 of which will be boys, a lot coming from this area. There were quite a considerable number of first and second choice for Millay from boys, I understand. And that was quite interesting for me because you may remember about 4 or 5 years ago, the Forest School in Horsham, which used to be all boys, was not having the greatest success in attracting sufficient boys to fill it up, and it was decided to become a co-educational school because of the increasing demand for co-education. The number of boys starting this September at Millay, and those, especially those that gave it as a first, second or third choice, is considerably above the number of girls that wanted to go to the Forest 4 years ago. And the numbers of girls going to Forest have increased every year since then. And there's no doubt about it that fashions, or whatever you like to call it in education, are very much leaning towards co-education. And I suspect that everything else being equal, that we will have, very soon, we'll have 50-50 probably, boys and girls going to Millay. It's been a very poor time for some of our children in this parish, but these things now seem to be under control. If I could take you to something a little bit more close to home, your officers have been dealing with West Sussex Libraries and Adult Services about the possibility of using the old youth accommodation just across the way here for an extension of the library using S106 funds. And I was speaking to the officers dealing with that at the moment. It needs a deed of variation for these S106 funds to be released for that particular purpose. And they come out of one of the Berkeley Homes developments. And the expiry date for those funds to be used was the beginning of this month. And I know that, Julie, you've been dealing with this one. There is a deed of a variation to extend it by another 3 years, which has been agreed in principle with Berkeley Homes. And the legal documentation has been batting between West Sussex County Council and Berkeley Homes on this particular thing. Talking to the officers this evening, this is not unusual when you deal with legal matters of such things, but they don't see, at the moment, they don't see any reason why this should not be concluded within the course of the next few weeks. This will release something in the order of about £150,000 to be made available for works to that room and other matters with regard to providing additional library facilities. So that is moving on. Just the last point I was going to raise There's been quite a lot of what I would call social media chat over the last 6 weeks or so about a road junction on the A24, which is just outside of your parish, but a lot of your residents use the A24 and were concerned about the reports of vehicles driving coming out of Bar Lane, just north of Buckbarn Crossroads, and turning right and going into the southbound traffic. There are now temporary signs advising the dangers of that and people not turning right. It is believed by West Sussex Safety Road officers that the problem happens to, or may well be, because of people looking at their sat-navs, which give them an incorrect information. And I don't know, I haven't seen any photographs of any of the vehicles involved, but I do know that we do have a lot of what I would call delivery people for Amazon, what have you. They're all looking at their sat-navs, driving their vans, charging around the country, and maybe taking quick decisions when they're coming out of Bar Lane when they should have been looking at the signs. Anyway, permanent signs are on the way, and I haven't heard, and I don't know whether anybody else haven't heard of any new instances in the last few weeks. So I think that takes me through to possibly the end of my report this evening, Chairman. I'd be very happy to answer any questions that you may have. Oh, by the way, sorry, one thing. I just popped down this evening. I see that the new macadamed footpaths have been completed at the junction of Cripplegate Lane and Cedar Drive, which gives access to those people coming from Nutham Lane to the bus stop at the top of Cripplegate Lane. Also, since we last met, West Sussex County Council have completed the repairs and new surfacing of the footpath that runs along both sides of Cripplegate Lane, which is quite a distance. And I do know from talking to residents, I've actually had compliments on the work that's been carried out. As a county councillor, that doesn't often happen, so I was very pleased to receive them. Anyway, Chairman, I'm very happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to raise on any of that? Councillor Woodrow?
So just regarding the schooling, I know with the 1,000 homes development, there's a school kind of earmarked for it. There's kind of a lot of local interest of will South Water get a school, will it not? And with the school in Burgess Hill, I think paused, I can't remember exactly the name of it, but it's basically paused due to lack of demand. Is there a firm commitment for one in South Water? Basically, what does the data say for it?
Yes, the planning application, I understand. I haven't inspected the planning application that I think is recently submitted to Berkeley Homes for 1,100 homes. I haven't had the opportunity to go through that. But I believe from previous discussions it was earmarking a site for a secondary school and also a primary school. The way in which these things proceed is that the developer for such large schemes are encouraged or obliged to provide a site. They don't often provide anything more than that. They may pay some S106 money, but they don't actually build it unless there are exceptional circumstances. Just if I may go back to the figures that we talked about, Horsham's 4 co-educational schools, Millay, Bowhunt, Tambridge and Forest, currently provide 1,068 school places. As of this month, the applications from children based within the Horsham catchment area were only in the region of about 930 children. So there is a headroom with the existing schools. And a crude rule of thumb is that for every 1,000 houses, that will provide one 30-pupil year group for each year. So you have 5 years in secondary school. Now, that rule of thumb's been around for quite some time. But you may well have seen or noticed that pupil numbers at primary schools are falling. The birth rate in this country has fallen quite dramatically since over the last decade or so. In order to provide what they call a replacement population, the birth rate should be around about 2.1. And I think the latest figures for Horsham are about 1.5. And I do know that when I first became your county councillor, I was under some pressure from Southwater Infant School to increase what's known as their pupil numbers, PAN admission numbers. And they wanted to go from 120 to 150 because of demand. Well, it was only last year that actually the PAN has been reduced to 90 because of that. And that does have a knock-on effect because their numbers have gone down with the Southwater Junior Academy and Castlewood. I imagine that what will happen, there will be discussions, calculations made about the ability of having the demand for schooling in Southwater. But you don't build, I tell you mentioned the school in Burgess Hill, which is a new secondary school which planned, it's called the Northern Arc, the development there. It's about 3,000 houses. It's been a bit late, as a lot of big developments. It's been a bit slower than anticipated. And the school, the starting of the school has been delayed because of that. The existing schools, Burgess Hill Academy, is able to accommodate the extra children that are coming forward over the next few years. But I can tell you that school, and it was taking, I think, a sixth form of entry, which is the usual pattern, was something in the order of £75 million to build. These are huge sums of huge figures. And all local authorities will be very mindful that when they come and commit themselves to that sort of expenditure, that they have enough pupil demand for those schools in due course. So I imagine if that planning application goes through, the land will be, as far as I understand it, the land will be made available both for the senior school and possibly a junior school, primary school. They will take time before they start actually building anything because I don't know, and I would defer to your neighbourhood plan colleagues on it, I don't see that them building out more than 100 houses per year. So you've got 10 years of building going on there. So you don't build a school if you only think you're going to get 5 children. You just don't do it. I mean, it's as simple as that. You will try to make sure that you have capacity in the existing schools. Now, that may sometimes maybe it's an extra classroom or two, temporarily, but as I said, we've got around about 130 small spaces at the moment available in Horsham. And they do include some girls that come from out of catchment. Sorry to go on.
Okay. That's very useful. Councillor Vickers has got a question.
Nigel, am I right in saying that some children from Southwater go to the Wheels School in Billingshurst? I know they have in the past, but I do know a few who've gone who are going this year.
The children, there are some boys and girls going from Southwater to the Weald, and that was because it was one of their 3 choices.
Yep.
So that is the case. Yes, that's right.
And
there always has been. Some children go to the Weald for one reason or other, they just like the school.
And just for information, the developers, Barclays, have agreed to bring the school site forward in the first phase of this if they get their planning permission, because obviously they have to put the access road in and everything. They don't actually build the school, but they're prepared to put it in the first phase of development. Obviously, they've still got to build what they've already got permission for before they start that next phase of development.
Very good. Anybody else have any other questions? No? I have one. Do you have any? I know you talked about Cripplegate, and I know I talked about potholes. Do we have any idea when they may be looking at potholes in Cripplegate? Because I get asked it a lot, and there's one huge one down there that you could probably get a bus through, so it's massive. But the thing is, you have to swerve. You literally play dodgems up that road. There's quite a large one that's literally right in the middle. So if someone's coming towards you, you're either going to go down it or you have to completely stop to let them go past. So it would just be nice to have an idea.
The format is that if they get reported, and you have the West Sussex website, and I don't know whether or not the office here reports them on behalf of parish councillors or alternatively, the members of the general public can report these. This is what happened. Once that's logged, arrangements are then made for an inspection to be carried out. A highway steward will come out. And here's the chap who puts the little white lines around them if he thinks that they need attention. Not all potholes qualify for that. You know, people have different views about the depth and the danger of potholes. Anyway, once that's done, the programme time is for those repairs to be done within 28 days. The latest figures I saw for February was that the average time for those earmarked potholes and what have you was 16 days that they were done. Bearing in mind the amount of potholes that have emerged over the last few years. You can imagine the workload has increased. We've got extra gangs working now. We've got them working in the evening times, and we've got them working over the weekends in order to combat these problems that we've had. And as you know, we've got lots and lots of water. We've had extra people out jetting as well. You would have seen notices or what have you. We've had jetting in Bonfire Hill. We've had jetting elsewhere in order to clear some of the drains that have been blocked and causing flooding when we've had what I would call very heavy downpours. And of course, one of the main problems with that is actually the owners of the riparian ditches not clearing their ditches, where you see blocked ditches and there's flooding over the road. So we have to speak to the landowners as well.
So is there any way of knowing if those potholes have been picked up on it, or we don't know? Because obviously, I'm sure you said last time that the white lines go round, but actually sometimes they get washed away, or they're meant to be now. So we don't necessarily know that that's been picked up, do we? So is it recorded somewhere?
Well, they're all recorded down at County Hall on their computers and what have you, the contractors. Yes, once they've been inspected by a highway steward, the highway steward then makes a decision whether or not it would be appropriate for the works to be carried out. He will white line them around the outside. I think probably we've finished with the heavy rains, hopefully. So any problems there about being eroded should go. So you should be able to see it. It should be able to be done within 28 days. And as I say, the average for the last month or so has been 16 days.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Very frustrating, I know, but from going elsewhere in this country, I know I had some terrible potholes in Surrey yesterday.
Yeah. If no one else has got anything else to say, thank you very much for your report. Let me go back to my agenda, sorry. Right, so you've all received the District Council report. Councillor Vickers, did you want to say anything?
Only that the local plan examination opens again on the 28th of April.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just to note that I'll insert the report circulated in the meeting minutes verbatim. I'll just copy and paste.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anybody else want to speak? Councillor Vanderberg, did you want to say anything? Or? Okay. Statement. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so, sorry, hold on. I've got to, sign of old age, you know, when you have to wear reading glasses. Right, item 27, so we need to receive and consider approving the account. So the first point is the detailed balance sheet and earmark reserves of 28th of February 2026. Are we voting on approving, yes? Yeah, okay. So can I have a proposer for those? Councillor Pearce and a seconder. Councillor Vickers, and all those that were no, sorry, no, it's not a meeting, is it? So right, those in favour. Any against? No. Any abstentions? No, that's carried. Item 2 is the detailed income and expenditure of 28th of February 2026. So can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Vickers, seconder. Councillor Pearce. All those in favour? There were no, everyone's voted. I'll vote for it as well. Any abstentions? Anyone against? No, that's carried. Okay, now we're coming on to receiving and approving committee meeting minutes. So the first one is the Finance and General Purposes Committee on the 18th of February. So can I have a proposer from somebody who was in attendance? Councillor Vickers, a seconder, Councillor Pearce, and all those that were in attendance of the meeting, those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? No, that's carried. Next item is the Planning Committee on the 4th of February. So this is for noting only, is that correct? Okay. So for approval is the committee meeting of the 4th of March 26. So can I have a proposer? Councillor Haddon, seconder. Councillor Everard, and all those in attendance that are in favour. Oh,
Can I just say I was actually present for that meeting, although I'm not a member of that committee. It's not
Okay.
in the minutes.
thank you. Can we note that? Duly noted. Those in favour who were in attendance at the meeting? Any abstentions? Any against? No. There's nothing for the Health and Safety Committee, and the HR Committee, it was just to note that the HR Committee, those in attendance of the HR Committee approved the mental health and wellbeing policy, which we're discussing later on. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And the grievance policy. Right, so moving on to item 29, you should have all received a briefing note. We need to consider the extension of the contract with Mulberry Local Authority Services for a further 3 years as the council's independent and competent internal auditor, so to cover the years April 26 to 31st of March 2029. So did you have anything you wanted to say on that?
I think
Justin?
everything's covered in the briefing note. All I will note for the meeting minutes, just because the external auditors will check this, is that the council's considered the independence and competency of Mulberry Local Authority Services Limited.
Okay, so could I have a proposer? Councillor Watkins, and a seconder, Councillor Vickers. All those in favour of holding them?
It was unanimous.
That looks like everybody. No abstentions, no one against. Right. So that's recorded that they will continue as our independent auditors. Right, so the next section is policies that you've all got in the pack to consider and approve. So the first one is the co-option policy. There is a briefing note and there are track changes on that. Now, I don't have it to hand, hold on, before I find it in my pack. Did you want to lead on that while I'm looking for it, or is everything okay?
Changes hopefully are all self-explanatory. Yeah, that's it really.
Okay, so can we have a proposer for that one? Councillor Vickers, seconder. Councillor Haddon, all those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? No, right. The next policy was the artificial intelligence policy, but you have a note to say on this,
Yeah,
don't you?
if I may, Madam Chairman. So as per the briefing note, Octatec have reviewed the policy from an IT systems and cyber security perspective and confirmed it aligns with Cyber Essentials. However, a helpful point was raised about accessibility needs. And I just must clarify that the intention of this policy is not to prevent reasonable adjustments in response to accessibility needs, but the intention of the policy is to prevent confidential or personal counsel information, or personal information, or any data like that being uploaded into unapproved consumer AI tools. And most importantly, to assist the council in preventing breaches of data protection. I think in producing this policy, it has highlighted the importance of data protection training, not just for staff, which staff carry out every 2 years, but for all councillors. I think I have made some minor amendments to the policy, but rather than try and read those out now, I think it'd probably be easier if I go away, add them in track changes, and then we defer to the next meeting.
Okay. Do you want me to vote on, do we need to vote on that or not?
Sorry, can I just ask a quick question? Justin, I don't know if I heard correctly. Did you say that we are going for certification of Cyber Essentials?
Well, we've got it.
We have got it
Yeah.
already? Okay, good.
One thing I will point out, actually, it's kind of linked to the policy, is this policy has also highlighted the importance of training for not just councillors but staff on use of AI. It's being used in lots of different uses. You can't do a Google search now without having AI-assisted searches. So we just need to make sure that there are clear guidelines and governance practices in place for this council. It's a hot topic at the moment in the various forums in local government, and there are quite a few councils using it. It's still a minority, but as a Gold Award council, I think it's really important that we continue to lead from the front and kind of and pioneer and sort of sort this out so that everyone's clear on how it can be used and how it can't be used.
Okay, so we'll pick this one up at the next meeting. Yeah.
So I'll apply the some amendments.
Okay, fine. So the next policy is the Parish Council Representation on Community Groups and Organisations policy. Again, this is an existing policy that's just been amended. Track changes are all listed in the document. So unless anyone's got any questions, Councillor Brearley, carry on.
Yes, sorry, if I could just raise a point. Yeah, apologies to the Executive Officer for not raising this beforehand. It's only something that I spotted today and thought of. But I was just wondering, in the interests of public confidence in the Council, that if there's anything that can be put in about the appropriateness of a trustee or someone with an interest to not be able to chair a debate or motion or agenda item if they are a trustee and that item concerns their interest in that outside party.
So I think if I can clarify, if a trustee of a charity, let's say Southwold Village Hall Charity or Southwold Guild CIO, if there is a decision being made by the council which impacts that organisation and has a greater impact on them than it does the rest of the community, then in that instance there would be an interest.
That if they have an interest, that they shouldn't chair a debate because they can have the ability to lead the debate, and it's to ensure public confidence that there is no foreseen bias.
Yes, so that shouldn't be needed. We can add that in for clarity, but if there is an interest that needs to be declared, whether disclosable pecuniary interest or other registrable interest, then that precludes them from being in the meeting due to the code of conduct, then they wouldn't be able to be in the meeting to chair it anyway.
There has been an occasion where the debate has taken place where a trustee of a charity has chaired the debate on something that impacts on the trust. And
Okay.
I think it's just in the interest of public confidence, knowing the role that somebody chairing an agenda item or motion has, I don't feel that should be appropriate under the Code of Conduct. And I know also that from my training that if you are a trustee, the laws that govern you as a trustee override those of your responsibilities of a councillor. So it's to ensure that there is no foreseen bias in leading that debate. That's the amendment I'd like to propose.
Yeah, okay. Do you have the specific wording to that effect?
I think that if somebody is chairing an agenda item, or somebody should not be able to chair an agenda item if they are the trustee of a charity or an outside body that has a direct interest in the matters being decided upon.
So is that a proposal?
Yes, that's my proposal.
So proposal is to approve the policy as circulated, subject to the amendment suggested. Before this becomes a substantive motion, could I request that I'm authorised to place that in the policy as I see fit in terms of
And I do apologise for not
natural
raising
order
it
and
before.
numbering.
It's something that I should have emailed in previously, but no, apologies for raising it now.
Delegated authority,
Do we need someone to second that?
if there is a seconder, yeah.
I'll second it. Okay, Councillor Brown will second it. So can I now ask for everyone in favour of this policy with the addendum to raise their hands if you're all in favour, anyone's in favour of that one? Any abstentions? One. Councillor Watkins. Anyone against? No. That's carried.
Was that? Sorry.
Okay, so the next policy is the grant policy. Again, this is an existing policy that's been amended. Track changes are on there, so nobody has anything to raise. Could I have a proposer? Councillor Vickers, a seconder. Councillor Potts. Those in favour? Those against? Councillor Potts, are you in favour or against?
Second it.
He seconded. I was just checking because he didn't put his hand up. Any abstentions? You need to be clearer with your hand holding, Councillor Potts. Right, that one's carried. So the next one is the volunteer policy, which again is an existing policy that's been amended. So could I have a proposer? Councillor Villiers, a seconder. Councillor Pearce. Those in favour? Any abstentions? Anyone against? No. The next...
Could I just clarify something? So just for clarity, in case it's not clear, councillors, whilst you volunteer your time, you're not classed as volunteers.
Right, the next one is the protocol on member office relations policy. So again, this is an existing policy that's been amended. So can I have a proposer? Councillor Vickers, seconder. Councillor Brearley. Those in favour? Anyone against? I keep forgetting to put my own hand up. Any abstentions? No. We're nearly there. Right, the next one is the grievance policy. So again, can I have a proposer for this? This is again an existing policy. Councillor Vickers, seconder. Councillor Haddon. Those in favour? Any abstentions? Any against? No. Carried. And the final one is the mental health and wellbeing policy, which is a new policy, but you should have all had a briefing note on it. So if there are no questions, can I have a proposer for this policy? Councillor Pearce, a seconder. Councillor Potts. Those in favour? Any abstentions? Any against? No. Carried.
If I may, Madam Chairman. Over the next couple of months, either myself or Louisa, our Senior Operations Officer, will reach out to councillors about training and awareness.
Thank you. Okay, so item 31, we're whizzing through this agenda, Justin, I'm doing well, is to consider and approve amendments to the standing orders. Again, this was in the pack. Is there anything particular you need to say on this, or can I just go to a vote? Okay, so can I have a proposer? Councillor Vickers, a seconder. Councillor Villiers. All those in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Carried. Right, so the next item, item 32, is to receive the briefing note and consider about the white ribbon supporter. So did you have anything to add to this, Justin?
Just that it's been something that's on the radar with National Association of Local Councils and the SLCC. I know a few colleagues in local government in the same position as me. It's been sort of something that has been discussed quite a bit, and kind of looking at our sort of gold award and taking into account sort of what is good governance and what can we do to be continue to be a champion council, this falls in line with that. So I think this is the first step. But hopefully the briefing note provides the key information. The only other key point I'd like to make is that there's an annual fee of £120.
Okay, so does anybody have anything to discuss, Councillor? Really?
Sorry, I'd just like to say that I think it's a critical thing that whilst crime in general has decreased, violence towards women, especially in the home environment, has increased and increased substantially since COVID. So I think I wholeheartedly support that.
Yeah, I didn't think it was appropriate to put stats in because they're quite.
Right, so in that case then, can I have a proposer and a seconder? Those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? No, that's duly carried. So the next item 3 is to receive a report in regard to Parish in Bloom, which is
It's on page,
on page 159. So it's something that we're considering as a council to be part of, or we are being part of.
So this will be our first year. We have submitted the application, and my colleague is taking steps now to, it's a team effort. We have a seminar at Farnham Town Council at the end of April, and it's focused around not just horticulture, but the community environment as well. It's about trying to utilise volunteers where you can in the parish, and it's not restricted to parish council-owned land, although I think the first year we will focus on parish council-owned land because we can actually impact change on there. To impact change on any open spaces owned by Horsham would be much harder to do because we'd have to go through Horsham. Hopefully the report that the Senior Operations Officer has provided gives you all a good overview. I wouldn't like to give any commitments as to what level of award we'd get here. It would be our first year, but from there we can continue to develop, enhance and improve the open spaces. And it all aligns with sort of the vision in our business plan, which is to continue to improve Southwater as a place to live. So.
There's no financial costs in here. Do we need to set a budget for it?
So any enhancements will be done in accordance with the budget that was approved in January. As it stands, we'll be hoping to use some local volunteers and local organisations, and I understand the person from the SEIB, when they conducted their visit earlier last month, suggested that some of the places that may get included are already in pretty good high standing, not just from a horticultural point of view, but the wider picture of community engagement, enhancements to biodiversity, and so forth.
Thank you. There's nothing we're not voting on that, we're just noting it. Aren't we?
Just for noting, yeah.
So item 34 is to receive a verbal update on the emergency plan.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So it's been on the to-do list to do a full review of the emergency and resilience plan, and via SALC we conducted a full audit and review from a specialist in emergency planning. So in summary, the existing plan that we have is exceptionally thorough and detailed, but in practice it's just not practical or realistic in the event of an emergency and a real need at the time. So following further discussion with the consultant, it's advisable for the council to consider starting afresh with a new plan. We have got templates which are tried and tested at various other councils. So what I will be looking to do when I have some time is to start going through the templates, start populating them. I know Councillor Potts has expressed an interest as an emergency coordinator, and I know Councillor Villas also. So when I get round to this project, I will be in touch with those two councillors, and if anyone in the meantime is interested in being involved as an emergency coordinator, then I'll keep you all updated. So the next step will be to populate those templates, and then we'll bring them back to council to approve them.
Okay, thank you very much. It's just left for me to say that the date of the next meeting is our annual meeting of the council, and this is on the 20th of May this year. And thank you everybody for your time, and we can stop streaming. Now you've all got an hour to do something to twiddle your thumbs before planning.